I'm Laura Kleiss, and I'm the Executive Director of Clay County Chamber of Commerce. And today I am bringing you to the very heart of our beautiful county, Clay County. We are in the city of Hayesville, and we're outside our very historic and pristine and well-preserved courthouse. We're on the downtown square of Hayesville this morning, a little bit foggy, but we have something that is very special and unique to us, and that is our Beal Center. This beautiful courthouse comes rich with history, and yet it has been restored in pristine condition, and we have turned this into an event center that I can't wait to share with you today. So please join me. I'd like to take you inside the courthouse and introduce you to our new executive director. So this is the historic courthouse. Beal Center is its name, and it was established in 1888 and renovated in 2018. So many communities have attempted to restore their courthouses, and Clay County was successful in that. So come on in. I'd like to introduce you to Brooke Reynolds. She is the Executive Director here at the Beal Center, and she's going to give you a tour of this facility and show you what an old courthouse can become. And then we're going to come down to the historical room, and we're going to show you how it was done. We'll have a discussion on restoration and what that economic impact can be for your community. Brooke, take it away.
Welcome into the Beal Center. I'm going to take you upstairs to show you our main attraction to our event venue. So come on, let's go. Okay, so as we make our way up the stairs into the main courthouse courtroom, it is called the Abner and Carol Moore Courtroom. As you can see, we have it set up in a theater style setting right now. With this setting, we can offer concerts, plays, pageants, anything you would like. And then we also have the option to do a more relaxed style of setting, which includes the tables and the chairs, and we can fit around 120 people that way. Okay, we have a wet bar that you can use to stock your event. We have stairs that lead down to a groom suite. This suite would be good for weddings. We have lots of weddings here. When it's not foggy, you can see the beautiful mountains in the background. Over to behind you is a bridal suite. When the brides and bridesmaids have their event here, they like to get ready in a suite. This is what that's used for. This is an event venue, so you can have any kind of event you would like here. Baby showers, trainings, meetings, weddings, you name it, we can accommodate to. Okay, now that we've made our way back downstairs to the first level, as you walk in, you can go down the hallway and find our conference room. Our conference room holds up to 25 people. It's good for your meetings, your trainings, your smaller events. And then we also have our history room that has a lot of artifacts from the history of Clay County, as well as the renovation of the courthouse. So please come and join us and book your events with us.
Finally, TV made for you. Introducing the all-new Kinetic TV, the next generation of entertainment. With multi-streaming, watch different programs on multiple devices at the same time. Over 10,000 video on-demand movies and shows. Plus, Kinetic TV gives you the power to instantly watch 72 hours of previously aired programs with replay. Never worry about forgetting to record a show. Experience the future of entertainment with Kinetic TV.
Brooke, I'd like to thank you for taking a few minutes and showing us the inside of the beautiful Beal Center. At this time, I'd like to introduce you to Rob Tiger. He is a fourth-generation resident here in Clay County in our little town of Hayesville, a business owner right here on the square. And he's also a director of our Clay County Community Redevelopment Association. Many people have worked so hard to make this community building, bring it back to this beautiful, pristine, usable, modern-day approach to the courthouse here in Clay County. But Rob brings to this a lot of history, and so I guess I'd like to begin, Rob, with the question of, take us back and tell us the story of how did this courthouse come about back in the 1800s?
Well, it was built in 1888, finished in 89. After the first courthouse in Hayesville burned. I think that was in 1872, so they went without a permanent courthouse for a number of years. It was the contract was let to Stanhope Anderson for less than $8,000. So it was, and of course, Clay County at that time, it had been formed from Macon County and primarily from Cherokee County. So it was a very small county, poor county. It was built, the architect was William Bulgen. He was from Franklin, North Carolina. He also designed the Macon County Courthouse, which was demolished in, I want to think, the 1970s or 80s. It was a very similar building, but a little more ornate. They had a clock. We didn't have a clock in the tower. But this was the county courthouse until the county built the new courthouse in 2007. So they moved out of this building in 2007. And it had become much too small and confining to do the work of the county at the time. And we had actually, CCCRA had begun restoration efforts in 2000. And we acquired a grant from the Jan Irv Foundation to do exterior restoration in 2001, 2002, and 3, I think. That was done while the county was still using the building, and we had a contractor come in and clean the exterior, which exposed all these colors, and we
Tell
did.
me a little bit more about the colors when you say the colors.
Well, the brick graduates in color. It goes from red to buff, and in a combination. And there's the dental work around the center of the courthouse that alternates. But my thinking is that was not accidental, but intentional on the part of the architect to give the building a little flair. And because if you look at the eyebrows over the arches over the lower windows, they're in a contrasting red against the buff. So it was a bit of a surprise because I don't think anyone living could remember the building that way. It had been painted or stained red for decades. So
all that paint was taken off, painstakingly taken
yeah,
off, I'm sure.
Yeah, and we did, the funding we got from Jan Irv allowed us to do that and to point and tuck a lot of the brickwork, stabilize the foundation, which was in bad shape, and do some woodwork. We had Tim Mustin mill some replicas of the fascia out of yellow poplar that we had to replace in the gables and the eaves. We did a window campaign where residents of the county contributed monies to purchase new windows. The old ones were in such bad shape, and we talked to the Division of History and Archives in North Carolina because the building is on the National Register of Historic Places. And they agreed that if we could replicate the windows, that we could replace them. And so we got Tucker Millworks, I think it was, in Lithonia, Georgia, did the window work. And
if I could interrupt a little bit, when you talk about I'm hearing something immediately that talks about private and public working together. So, it seems to me the first step of historical restoration and preservation is, as you said, getting it earmarked as a designated historical building. And then when you do that, then what happens? What opens up to you as a result of that?
Well, honestly, getting something on the National Register it provides some protection, but it wouldn't necessarily save a building.
Okay.
You're still, if a building fell into such disrepair, even if it's on the register, that it was beyond, became dangerous, something, it could be demolished. But this was put on the National Register in 1974 or 75, I think. My dates on some of that are murky, but what it does do is it obligates you to especially exterior restoration. It obligates you to remain true to the original character of the building.
Does it also not open you up for potential grants?
It can help, but it's not always necessarily a real benefit in that regard. Jan Irv, it doesn't exist anymore. They folded into the North Carolina Community Foundation, but we were lucky to get that. We didn't get exactly what we asked for, but we did work with the contractor who was willing to do what he could for what we received from them. And then we just kept fundraising until we got to a point where we were out of money on the exterior, and because the county was still using the building, we got that far. And when we got back into the effort of doing more restoration, we ended up redoing a lot of the exterior again, not redoing all of it, but we hired another mason who came in and did a fantastic job of finishing up the pointing and brick repair work, joints, and refacing some areas. We repainted, did a lot of woodwork again, because 2002 to 2017, that's 12 years of not being addressed. Wood doesn't hold up forever. So we repainted, did quite a bit of work on the steeple, on the tower, and we're kind of in 2017, we did everything we could do exterior-wise. The interior was in a mess, and
if I could pause for a second, one of the challenges as I've worked on historical buildings that creates kind of an opportunity but a challenge is, what do you do with the inside of a building? So many times we have historical buildings and we have the heart to restore it and preserve our history, and yet what do you do with it? And did you guys face that challenge on the courthouse?
Well, we had looked beginning in the mid-2000s, after we did exterior restoration, we looked at possible uses of the interior. We had a committee that worked really hard looking for grant funding. We applied to trying to think of a couple of grants we applied to and were turned down on. But we looked at retail, we looked at event space, which it is now. We looked at considered museum. Museums are difficult to make profitable. And we had a good museum, a small museum, but so we didn't really need that. But event space, at the end of the day, seemed like the path that we should go. At least it would return some revenue to the building, and we could, hopefully maintain it. Prior to that, though, we were kind of at a standstill because funding to get the interior done we just ran into roadblocks everywhere we turned. And that's when Ron Beal stepped in. And I think Ron had been watching the progress on the building for a number of years, and he had followed our organization, and apparently he had some confidence in us, and he met with us and said, let's do the interior. So from 2017 through 18, we hired Robert Penland's contractor, and got a fantastic job done. We had a really we had a good board. We had Paul Price had come on, and Paul had some experience restoring historic homes, a couple of homes. So he kind of knew more than some of us what we were really facing. And we all agreed that we didn't want the building on the inside to look like something it had never been. We didn't want crystal chandeliers hanging from the ceilings, and we wanted to try to represent the interior as it would have looked in the 1800s. Although I think we got a much nicer, because there's just better materials to work with now. We saved as much of interior materials as we could. Robert took the floor up upstairs and reworked what he could, salvaged everything we could. He put it back down. It's a beautiful floor. Brooke will attest to that. I mean, everybody that walks in that room wishes that floor were in their home. So we were, as a group, we were really pleased with the outcome. Of course, the hurdle is, it's that old saying, be careful what you wish for. We just got to make the building work one way or the other, and earn a little income and try to help defray the costs of keeping it open. Because, a space this size is not cheap, and there's always something to do. But our board, CCCRE's board, we've always been able to somehow maintain a strong board. I mean, we've had people like Margie Weathers, who wrote that Janner grant, who wrote some other successful grants for us. Sandy Nicolette, who wrote a number of grants. Ron Gugasberg with the Trails and Greenways. He and Joanna Atkinson. And a really strong, solid group of people who worked hard on making sure this building got done. And that was Paul Price, Bob Hanson. If I start naming everybody, I'll miss people. But
which brings us to the point. This is a project that has been. You have private funds, you have public funds, and it is a committed, passionate view that says this is worth saving. It has a purpose. It's ultimately become a destination building, architecturally, historically, for our entire county. And so it is at the very center, the very heart of Hayesville and Clay County. Economic benefits, are there economic benefits in your mind and with historical restoration?
Yeah, I think there's a lot. And I think that without this building as a focal point in the middle of Hayesville, we probably wouldn't have some of the businesses that have come in since then. And we've struggled. I mean, the recession hurt us. We were making really good progress with new businesses, and then the recession came along, and we backed up. And then we got this building finished, and within that year and a half, we had probably half a dozen new businesses located on the square. And they're not all going to make it. I mean, trying to operate an independent business is not easy, and it doesn't matter what it is. But, we, as a group, we were told by a number of people involved in economic development and small town restoration that if you're in a rural county and you don't have a county hub, a center, then you're really in trouble because you become nothing more than a pass-through county. And
And one of the things that I think is neat is you go through our downtown. It's just a beautiful little downtown.
yeah,
You have businesses that have been successfully have restored. You know, we have Paul Lipoff with the right across the street.
Right.
You've got Copper Door, and then you have a beautiful two-story building that is just crying for restoration and
Yeah.
preservation. So you can. There's just a perfect example in Clay County of downtown Hayesville of what you can have and what that can mean to your community versus when you just let it fall in disrepair.
oh
So-
yeah, and I don't know. There's a book called it's got the phrase "broken windows" in it, and broken windows, broken dreams, which addresses the plight of small downtown revitalization.
Well, I'm gonna kind of shut us down from there. I think that I would like to have us pause and just reflect for a minute. Is that in Clay County, in our little beautiful downtown of Hayesville, in the majestic oldest mountains, and on the shores of Lake Chatuge, you know, we don't have broken windows. We don't have broken dreams. This is a beautiful downtown. We invite you to come and visit. Brooke is here Wednesdays through Saturdays to give you a tour, give you a historical walkthrough. And I would also share with you, when you're wanting to get away from the stresses of the cities and you're looking for that venue where you can put away your phone and eagerly do it and just breathe and come and check out this location. It'd be perfect for a wedding, an anniversary, a meeting. And I'd like you to get a hold of Brooke. Brooke is our executive director here at the Beal Center, and you can get a hold of her at her website is at www.bealcenter.org, or you can give her a call at 828-415-1623. And I would share with you on behalf of the Clay County Chamber of Commerce, I know that what I see when I see this beautiful historical courthouse is just a lot of hard work, public and private funds, just a lot of just energy and passion that have come together to make this happen. So if you're considering restoration, make sure you get a hold of the Clay County Community Revitalization Association and come see this beautiful courthouse. Thank you.